All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hey, I just saw you all. Welcome back. Welcome to Coffee and Craps. This is the actual show where you get to see me and not hear me just out there in the garage beating myself to death. So, good morning, everybody. Lots going on today, but I want to start by just saying hi and good to be back home. Good to be back. Hopefully we're gonna get in rhythm. We're in a weird week because we had the holiday. Tomorrow, I forgot. Geez, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So in advance, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you have a good one. Hope you enjoy some family time. Get all the thing. But yeah, probably no show tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, I'm gonna be up anyway, so I may just do it. If you want to be here and be full degens, we can do it. We'll have a show tomorrow morning if you want, and of course Friday. And then next week we'll be back into regular, normal 2-show-a-day rhythm. I'll have good topics to talk about. Lots of things that are going on that I think are important to talk about. Some we'll get to this week for sure, just based on things that we saw in Vegas. Just tips, tricks, techniques, all the things. So here we go. Let's jump into the actual content here, and let's see if this camera works. It does work. Look at that. So I moved. Quick little sideshow here, or sidetrack. Got in last night at about 1:30. I got home last night from my flight debacle in Vegas. Set everything back up again. I unpacked all my bags, set up all the wires, got all the cameras back where they're supposed to be, and hopefully things are set up right. Things aren't quite in the right spot. My camera here I'm looking at is a little bit crooked, so I got some work to do there. But we'll get back to it. Apologies today if it's going to be a little bit janky, but that's the way it is. All right, so we'll do a quick, as we do, the daily paycheck recap. So this morning's DPC, not great. We did the Horseman, which one of my favorite ways to play. I love the Horseman for lots of reasons. Lots of reasons to love the Horseman, lots of reasons to hate the Horseman. I get it, right? I think Dan pointed out in the chat during that first session, there's a lot of wasted rolls. On a good shooter, there's potentially a ton of wasted rolls. You don't capitalize in the box like you normally do on a regular kind of strategy. The Horseman is not designed for that. It's designed to capitalize on the majority of rolls, which are short. Most rolls are 0, 2, or 3 hits after the point's been set. Most rolls. So a Horseman at the 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 ratio nets you a unit, whatever your unit size is, as you're doing that, right? That's why I like it, because it survives all the short rolls. It's a dark strategy because you're big on the don't pass, and people go, "Oh my God, you're anti-table." But really, I'd like to see a good shooter. I'd like to get the don't pass set, have you set a couple of come bets, and have them repay. And as they repay, I take the odds, I put a new come bet in, and we start building that molly up over the course of a good roll. So if somebody rolls 10, 12, 13 shots, and they're repeating box numbers, you're going to do great. You're going to hit, you're going to collect, you're going to grab odds on the next one. You're going to build your profit center as you go. Today was one of those days out there where you see kind of the nightmare scenario for it, where you pick off your points. Sometimes you lose your don't. They're setting come bets and they're never paying. We only got paid on come bets a handful of times out of 68 or 72 rolls. I think our come bets got paid a total of maybe 5 or 8 times at most. That's not a lot of repeats out of 70 rolls. To get paid 5 times on come bets is pretty bad. It goes to show you what it looks like on a random table. Like, that's the randomness of the dice. That's what happens. So it is what it is, right? But you know what? We lost $300. So if you bought it for 500, you'd be down $30. And if I'm playing with friends, which I did a lot this weekend, and I've got a full table of people, which we did most of the weekend, you can survive that entire table and get back to yourself shooting and hopefully make some money on yourself. It's not an attack the table strategy. This is a survive the table strategy. And it did today. It survived the table, just like it was designed to do. So that's the recap. We'll do it again for a couple more days, and we'll see it happen. All right, let's move on to the next thing then. And there's a couple of things to talk about here. One is going to be this Friday night fights. Do you guys want to do, I forget the decision. Do we want to do it on Black Friday or not? Did we decide? I think we said yes, but if you're in, how many people are here? We got 25 people here. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in chat. Do you want to do Friday night fights this Friday? If you do, on Black Friday, I got to get together with everybody. Make sure we have dealers and boxmen and players that can actually do it. Just give me a yay or nay in chat so I know if we're doing. I think you said yes last week, but I spaced it up. I was a little busy, as you can well imagine. So if you do that, let's do it. Oh, I see a question here. Jeremy, will DiceCon? Oh, maybe Jeremy's in the chat with us here. Okay. Craps Chat. Let's talk about Craps Chat. We had technical issues. The plan, oh man, the plan. The plan was to have Craps Chat live at the event on Friday night. Unfortunately, when Jeff dialed in to the thing, so a normal guest is just their camera and their voice, no big deal. Jeff dials in and he's got it's not that we're streaming his Zoom and the guests, but it's all that data coming in, all the whole screen that he sent, and overloaded the internet at Casino Quest. Now, Casino Quest, amazing host, but the internet there is kind of dodgy. Their internet, David described it as 4G on a good day. That's what he said, and so it proved that was the case. It couldn't handle the big loads. Went down a few times, so we couldn't get Craps Chat in, which is unfortunate. But we did a quick pivot. The next episode will be December 11th. For sure, Jeff confirmed it. I think Skill and Luck is in the chat. He can confirm that he's good for that day too. But that's, as I understand it, that's the next Craps Chat date, December 11th. The last one for the year will be that one. So again, my favorite show, one more time in 2022, December 11th. Okay. Then the last thing is I want to talk about here. We have a lot of things to talk about, of course, but Coffee and Craps change is coming. So Jeremy did a session for us at the Crapsathon where he challenged all the YouTubers to take a different tack, a different way of approaching your channel. Like and again, the question is, what do you want to do? What, you want your channel to grow? You want to be a teacher, John? What do you want to do with the thing? I want this show that you're watching right now, the Coffee and Craps show, to change. It's good, it's fun. We joke about this all the time, and I say, you all come here not to listen to me. You're coming here to be in chat and hang out and be buds, which is great, and I want to facilitate that. But I also want to make sure that we're putting good stuff out here too, and it can't just be me yapping. I've said it before, we're going to try and get more guests on here. I've got a few people who've actually said, I want to be on your show on a repeating basis. This show needs to become more of a morning, like Good Morning America kind of a show, but all about craps. That's what I want it to be, is more of a panel talking, some playing, it's not really the teaching thing. The teaching thing will happen on Pro Craps. I think that's where it needs to be. I think it needs to be on Pro Craps, the teaching stuff and the hardcore. This needs to be way more light than I think it's been. So that's where I think we're going to change it. This show is going to be a little more lighthearted and fun, yet still craps based. Pro Craps will become, I think, more serious, and that channel will grow slower. This one will grow faster. I think that's that was Jeremy's challenge. I think that's challenge accepted, and that's where I'm going to go. Yeah, Jeremy made everybody think. Jeremy's segment was awesome. It was one of the best to me. One of the highlights of the night was Jeremy's segment. There was 3 big highlights for me, and that was certainly one of them. So there's the come out roll here. So let's move on and really talk about the event. Let's talk about the event. We raised over $15,000. I'll get you the exact total here. I've got a couple things coming in still. We raised $15,000. Can you imagine that? I mean, I know I teared up a little bit right at the thing because I was so moved by the money and everything else, but we streamed for 27 straight hours, and we did it on the Casino Quest channel, not my channel. I did multi-stream, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain in a minute. But we did multi-stream to Pro Craps and CGTV and Casino Quest. But the Casino Quest audience is not my audience, right? You all know that, right? We have our own community here. The CQ audience, they're David's and Alex's people. So that was the first time most of them had ever seen me or heard of me, right? Most of us, right? They don't know any of us. We're in chat, we're there in person. They're like, who are these people? For the most part, we were not intruding, but like, hey, jumping into kind of their playground, right? And it was cool because they helped drive the bids, they helped drive the live donations, and it was amazing, right? I'm going to call out right away with this first pull-up, and I thanked him there in person, but Ian Olson, my good friend here from Seattle, was there, of course, the entire 24 hours, and he did amazing work in a lot of areas, but one area in particular, which was he did a pretty good job of watching the chats. And anytime, he had his phone out really the whole time, anytime anybody donated anything, he'd stop the show and say, hey, so-and-so just dropped $5 in. We'd all stop, clap them up. Everybody that donated, for the most part, got a call out. If Ian saw it in real time, we stopped the show, called everybody out. And that drove donations. That was a great tactic. It was really cool because my wife even called and said, how come I'm not getting a shout out, right? Because she wanted her shout out. Well, she donated. She was one of the anonymous ones because she didn't have a YouTube account. So my wife was one of the anonymous donors. People love that kind of stuff, right? And it drove the money. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that makes an event like this a success. I'm not really great at that. I'm good at like doing the content and having fun with y'all. Those are the little things that make, you know, probably a $3,000 to $5,000 difference in this thing. So Ian, you get a big shout out for that. Casino Quest rocked as a host, by the way. They're amazing. David is fantastic. He did a couple of great sessions with us. But the staff there, holy crap, man, that staff made us feel like family. Every one of them made us feel like family. Welcome, helped us out with everything. All the tech crap that we had going on. I got to call Dennis out specifically because the internet went down 3 times. Dennis was all over it. Every time it went down, Dennis is there to help pick it up, get me reconnected again. There was a lot of work to do with the streams. I'll talk about that in a minute. Getting the streams to work at all was a big task. And Dennis was amazing. Dennis Leon was amazing about getting us connected, reconnected, rehooked up again. And on that note, the viewers jumping from stream to stream was a big deal. The guests were awesome. The in-person guests were better. I'm not going to lie. It's easier when you're there in person to have you as a guest than it is to do all the tech stuff to get you online. So in person, we had great guests there live, and we can talk about some of the highlights there for sure. But they were great. Everybody offered so much knowledge, experience. We had some funny moments. We had some like, oh my God moments with some of these people. In fact, think about like Michael Shackelford's magic trick. Like everybody's like, oh my God, the math guy's doing a magic trick. What is going on? Does he believe in magic? That was funny. That was really funny, actually. But he was a great guest. We talked about math a little bit. Michael Shackelford did, by the way, confirm that I, John, am a dice influencer. I influence the dice. Not very much, but the thing that I'm going for, right? Well, all that work I'm doing in the garage at night, right? Trying to get my 1s and 6s to show my dice. It's working. It's not working great, but it's working. I got like a little 3% variance in there, which is what I expected he would find. And in fact, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper and take a look and see not only did I have a 3% variance on 6s and 1s, but how does that affect the box, right? So Shackelford confirmed to like the tiniest degree that I got something that I should keep trying. He wants more data, of course, and I'll give him all the data I can get him. But that was cool. He was a great guy. Talked about math plays. He did cost me $185. He did say to me, or us, rather, that the games he plays are UTH, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and craps, because of the low house edge. Well, I, of course, wanted to try Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and I'll tell you the story later. Not my favorite game. Not my favorite game after playing it. But the guests were awesome. David, for those of you who know Daddy David from Casino Quest, you've all watched him deal, right? You've watched all his videos, and he's got the thing going on. He's done a bunch of how to deal the dice videos. In person, that was ridiculous in person. So Jeremy and I were kind of across from him trying, I was taking notes. Watching him work the dice and talk through it live like that was a sight to behold. I'm carving that bit of the video out and keeping that forever. That was amazing what he did there. Jeremy, of course, had that awesome session with us, teaching us how to be YouTubers, challenging us on growing our channel and the community. Tony Leo came in. And I gotta call this out because you know me, I love Tony. Tony's a great guy, really great guy. I spent, along with Ian and Jennifer, we spent about an hour and a half maybe at his house. He's just a good dude, and you don't have to love his system or what he teaches. You can separate the system from the guy, right? That's two different things. He came out and he said, "I'm going to show you the way that I play." He bought in for $5,400. We let Alfredo shoot for him. Alfredo sniped him on 5 straight 7s. Just burned $5,000 in like 3 seconds. Doesn't normally happen at a table. Like Tony's system is an up as you lose kind of a system. That doesn't normally happen. Alfredo, as you all know, is a 7 machine on the come out. It is what it is, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people were like clapping back like, oh, good. Tony's an idiot. Glad he lost his money and proved that he's a charlatan, right? People were happy that he lost his money. Me, I looked at that and was like, man, that really sucks, that it happened. It's good to see martingales don't always win. Martingales are the best system on the planet until you get Alfredo shooting, right? And you get sniped. So it proves that martingales don't work. Tony handled that great. At the end of it, he was like, hey, you know what? My system is I go to the casino 30 days in a month. I'm going to get my ass kicked like that 3 out of those 30 days. We can survive 3 losses in a month, 3 beatdowns in a month, if I win my goal the other 27 days. That's Tony's way of thinking. And he handled the live loss with class. He didn't bitch, he didn't moan, he didn't complain. He said, hey, it happens, and here's the reason why my system is the way it is. I built it to survive that. So I thought he handled it really well. I wasn't in love with all the clapbacks that people happy that he lost. You got to give somebody credit and respect for coming in and doing that live with us. Again, take time out of his day, drive a half an hour to come in there, spend an hour with us, and he was there for a half hour before and a half an hour afterwards, hanging out and talking to people. He didn't run from it, nothing. I have a lot of respect for Tony. I think he's a great guy. He's fun guy to talk to. So there it is. I think it was great. Again, the in-person we had. Who else was there? Eric was there throwing dice. And by the way, we had somebody, and I couldn't get it put together. We had somebody who wanted to pledge dollars for the longest rolls of the whole thing. The longest roll happened to be gotten by the guy who was the dice control teacher. He got a 36, 37 roller while he was teaching. So he did really good. We did fun. You felt worse for Jacob. Besides, so Campbell's tossing, right? It's great. I hate when people lose, but I like when people lose, right? Because you got to see a couple things. I told Jacob this over email. Like you don't want to lose, right? You want to pass the rack. We'll do the pass the rack thing in a minute. You want to pass the rack and have it win the whole way around. Everybody can't come in here. You can't have Ed Robinson drop in and George drop in and Jacob drop in and Tony drop in and me and 8 people in a row just out of the gate live, pass the rack, win 50% profit on random shooting. You can't do that, right? Somebody in that mix is going to lose on the pass the rack. We lost it twice, and it happens, right? Ed had a rough time. Jacob had a rough time. So what, right? I was more interested to watch Jacob think it through and watch Jacob struggle with it because Jacob's a great craps player and a smart dude. He's got a good mind for the game. And to see him go, oh shit, we're upside down. How do we adjust to that? And you watch the wheels turn. I hope you all got something out of that. I certainly did. Watching Jacob and Ed maneuver around the whacking that they were getting from the dice, that's instructive and informative. Just like watching me with the Horseman this morning. The way that I attack that thing, the way that they play their way, there's where the money, that's where the money is for your brain. It's not that they passed the rack and won a bunch of money, right? Would have loved to have cheered Jacob on and see him win $5,000. It's more beneficial to all of us to watch Jacob think and have to work. That was great. I'm glad he's such a good sport about the whole thing too. He's just a great guy. The guests were awesome, up and down. George was awesome. Everybody that helped us out was an amazing guest. If I'm missing somebody, I'm sorry if I missed you, but there's a lot going on. The quick adjustments that we made was also a good thing. We had 2 times we had to make fast adjustments. Number 1 was with Craps Chat, right? We lost Craps Chat live feed. What the hell do we do now, right? We went out there and we did some pass the rack. We started playing live. We just I had to cut the feed and say, Jeff, I'm sorry, we can't do it. Out we go, and we did something. We just had something kind of in our back pocket to do. The same thing happened with Waylon. Now, Waylon, I'm not sure if he's here in chat today, but Waylon, good friend of mine, I love Waylon. And Waylon was hunting and left hunting early to come home to dial into our show and be part of the episode, right? Waylon left his love to come be with us, and I couldn't get him on. I couldn't get Waylon on because his phone wouldn't connect for whatever reason. And to connect him, I would have had to restart the software because it was in a glitch. If I restart the software, we lose the feed, and it's like I make a decision: like, do we lose the feed, or do we lose Waylon? So we had to ditch Waylon to keep the feed alive, to keep the show going, and we made an adjustment. We did the boys versus girls thing. And that was actually a great segment. It's one I'm going to bring back next year. The boys versus girls was great. We'll do the boys versus girls again next year because it was an awesome segment. I gotta thank our attendees and our staff. Holy crap. Holy crap. Jen and Craig and Ian and Steve and his wife, Gabby, everybody, and Carrie Coda, who I just met, like that day, met her in person the first time, worked all night. We all worked. The Casino Quest closes. We go 9 o'clock until 9 o'clock in the morning, 12 straight hours with 6 people. Holy crap, it was amazing. Dan, Dice Dr. Dan, drove us around, got us, we had dinner with him, he got us everywhere we needed to get to. There were so many times during the day, like we're getting set up and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot a wire. I forgot the wire that I need for this thing. And what do you need? I'm like, I need one of these things. Okay, and I'm going back to work, and then 10 minutes later, the wire shows up. Like somebody went out and bought a wire that I needed, or a thing that I needed. It just kept showing up. The stuff we needed just kept appearing because the staff and Dan and Chris from Sideshow and Chiro, they're all running around the mall buying me shit to make sure we can get our stuff done because I'd forgotten a couple things, right? That's irreplaceable. The night crew, by the way, joined by Charlie from Drunk Guy Explains, another guy like Tony, who I think is vastly misunderstood. Charlie spent 3 hours with us, 3+ hours with us. He lost his voice. He was drunk as a skunk. But we played 3 hours with him. He let us touch the chips. I kept saying, let me touch the chips. He worked us through his system, the entire DGE system, for 3 hours. We talked theory, we had fun. I mean, not just filling time. He was great content. Amazing. I'm proud to be able to call him a friend. I mean, he's just a good dude. I mean, I can't. Yeah, I can't. There was so much. There's so much love for everybody that was there. It was great. Now, some things didn't go all that well, right? We can be honest about this and say, not everything was amazing. So there was some bad things that happened. Why is this the wrong screen? The bad. Where's the bad screen? There it is. Okay, the bad. We didn't keep up with the overlays. So from a definite systems running standpoint, right? Our overlays didn't change the name of the person that was underneath. Like the red part that you see here, recapping the event, should have had the person's name every time. We didn't keep that in line. The spinner at the bottom that was showing the top donations, there was no way to get that to be a live data feed. So we had to type it in by hand. And if you saw the setup we had, the computer was basically underneath the table that we were at, because we had very short cords. So getting to it was difficult to do. So it was not a great setup in terms of that. So we couldn't keep up with the chats. We couldn't really see them in real time, so I couldn't put them up on screen. It's just hard logistically to kind of keep things where they needed to be. Food for thought. Next year coming out, different setup will be needed, some different wiring needed. We'll get that part figured out. That was a problem, unfortunately. We were a little disorganized with the guests because we couldn't do a dry run. There's a green room in the software where the guest joins in. We can do an audio check, make sure they're all set up, and then we bring them into the show. Where the computer was, where I was, we couldn't really do that. So it was like, hey, let's hope this works every time a guest came on. That was tough. Hawaii Crap Shooters in specific was hard to hear. They were tough to hear. They're loud. It was hard to follow the whole thing. And again, there's no way to adjust that. Once their feed's coming in, I can't make any adjustments to it. It just is what it is. All I can do is change volume, but I can't really communicate with them while they're going. So that's really hard. What I really want to do is and I think a change to make for next year is no more remote guests. So I think next year, we look at like a post-mortem here. What's going to happen next year? Better hardware, better microphones, better speakers, all guests in person. I think doing the guest online thing was tough, really, really tough to manage. So we're going to try and get it all done in person. The other bad thing was we couldn't get Crapsy going. I had it all wired in on my iPad. We're going to do the Crapsy thing. Well, guess what? The iPad battery went from 100 to 0 in like an hour and a half, right? Lost it. And we used every wire we had was used to get all the cameras and shit working. And the mall was closed. There was nowhere to go for another wire to get my iPad charged up. So we had to abandon Crapsy. Also, Crapsy requires a person to sit there and type in every number the whole time. We didn't have staff for that. There was nobody there to type numbers in. So next year, from a staffing perspective, I'll put it here in the rabbit ears. We're at staffing. Staffing next year, we're going to need somebody to just literally run Crapsy for 24 hours, like to make it work. We need to have people that are willing to do all the things that we know we need. This year, we didn't know what we needed until we got there. Like, oh, that's what we're missing. So now we know what our gaps were. Next year, we fill the gaps. So that was some of the bad. Oh, geez, that was wrong. Some of the things we did were not great. And there were some ugly things as well. We lost our internet 3 times, which is unfortunate. The mall internet's not great. David explained it like this. All of Las Vegas is sharing one internet pipe, right? And there's 4 million people on cell phones using the internet at the same time. We're fighting that at the mall, right? We're basically like, trying to make it work. The good thing about that was getting it to work was easy, right? Or getting it to switch was pretty easy. Dennis was great. To get the feed to work, however, was tough. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't stream directly to Casino Quest channel. There was no way to get my channel to go right to their, or my feed to go right to their channel without all sorts of wide open permissions being unchecked. So we didn't want to do that. So I had to use software called Restream that could multi-stream, and to get to, I could stream it from there backdoor into Casino Quest, which worked. The only way to make that work though was to stream to my channel and their channel. Restream won't work without 2 streams going. So we had to do the dual stream thing, which is why whenever the feed stopped and restarted, some people were on ProCraps channel, some people were on the Casino Quest channel, and they couldn't donate from the one side. So that's a tech problem. It is that I can't fix that. Next year though, we will have a direct line. We're going to use a different setup next year that goes direct to the CQ channel, or if my channel's at the 10,000 mark, we'll do it there. The big thing is this: you got to have a channel with 10,000 subscribers on it to be able to do the live donations that we did. When you did like the donate button, you need 10,000 subs to be able to do that. I don't have that many subs. Casino Quest does. That's why we use their feed to make this happen. So again, that'll start working on next year. Audio issues were tough, man. The audio was hard. Casino Quest was packed. It was packed. It was loud as hell in there. We couldn't hear anything. When our guests would dial in, you couldn't hear a thing. Even the guests that were there, you had to really lean in and listen to hear them. We had one microphone, because if you have 2 microphones, you get echo, right? We had one microphone. We had a speaker that was on the table, like right next to us, kind of, it was over here. And that speaker, of course, injects echo to the mic, but there's no other way to hear the guests. So that was what I was saying. Another reason for having no dial-in guests. Every guest has to be in person because that speaker caused echo. We can have a better microphone setup without having remote guests. So that's going to be a change for next year. And again, we'll fix the camera quality. We had short cords. We had no ability to switch table views. Like we had one iPad on the one side. It was like over here on the end of the table. And we had the camera that was kind of this overhead camera. That's all we had. So we couldn't really change to get people's faces in view. Next year, we have a plan for that too. We'll have 3 cameras out there next year. So it'll be good. We'll be fine. So that's the kind of the recap of the thing. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think this is the important thing. Let's see. Let's look at, this was the good. We had the good, the bad. The fantastic though was this, and I think it was mentioned in all the recaps. Lifelong friendships. I would even say this: it's family. We've created quite a little community here, right? We've got 30 to 50 people that are really close, and all you see in chat, right? And look at your chat right now. You see everybody's icons, right? All Bay Craps' Chip. You see Justice Chen's face. You see Dice Dr. Dan with the lab coat on. When you get out there and you meet people in person, it's like you've known them your whole life. Like I literally felt like everybody I walked up to, like, oh, it's Craig, cool. Hey, Craig. Oh, it's Steve. Hey, Steve. Oh, it's Eddie, E Hydra. We've dealt to E Hydra Eddie how many times now? Just shook his hand, like, hey, dude, how you doing? Like everybody becomes like family. Like you know them already when you get there. It was almost like you're rejoining for Christmas. You're seeing your family again. We spent so much time with so many people, with Dan and Jen and Carrie and Ian and Sideshow and Craig in the overnight, and getting to meet Steve and his wife in the overnight, and Carrie Coda, Chiro, playing with you guys all that whole time. It's like we've known each other forever. And I think that being together cemented a lot of that. Like now we are actual friends and we feel like actual family. And I think that future meetups aren't going to be just meetups like, hey, how you doing? My name is John. Nice to meet you in person. Now it's going to be, hey, dude, what's up? Quick little hug and off we go and play. It was so cool to see everybody in person and actually like meet and play for reals. So yeah, actual friends, bonds. Yeah. Bonds were created for sure. Bonds were created. It was great. That's the biggest takeaway. The money's great. The donations are great. Improving it for next year was great. The bonds we made were amazing. One thing I've got to say, I'm going to go back a screen here. I'm going to go back to adjustments because I want to. Well, I'll leave it here because we're talking about it. I want to address what Chiro said yesterday about the one downer. It was exciting as all hell, but the downer of the whole thing was the way that the battle royale played out, right? And Chiro, and I'll make a quick mention of it. I was never a fan either of the all-in rule. The all-in rule cost both of them. You know, Chiro got burned, Chris got burned during the series, and then of course Chiro got burned by the all-in rule at the finals. And the whole point of this thing was to determine who's the best craps player. Who has the best strategy? Who attacks the table the best? And a rule that forces you to do something you wouldn't normally do and that ends up biting you, to me, is a rule that should be taken away. So that was unfortunate that we didn't get to see Chiro play his way. You don't really know who was the best in that last scenario because Chris played it differently than he probably would have. So I like the fact that they're going to go back and play it again in person, on the table that got exchanged. That's going to be, I think that's the way to go. So I want to make sure I call that out because I think, and we can talk more about that in a future episode here, but the Battle Royale format is great except for that one rule. I think that's the one thing that we're going to, yeah, it sucked to see him go down like that. It was exciting. Like there's no question it was exciting, but I think that rule has to go bye-bye for sure. I think the Battle Royale format, the five matches with the sixth culmination, great way to determine who's the best. Take that rule out of it. And also I think we'll let, if somebody does go belly up, the other person gets to play it out. So, yeah, and CRC, great sportsmanship, right? It was great. Chris, they both handled it well. Shiro handled that situation very well. Chris handled it well. The table's still getting exchanged. It all worked out in the end, but it was disappointing not to get to watch them actually play it out. That kind of sucks. But you know what? Another reason to, give Chiro a big hug. I walked over to him afterwards. I gave him this big hug. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to say. Like, I felt so bad. But again, it's also kind of how you form bonds. Dice Dr. Dan, who's going to be next? I don't know. Let's figure that out. Why don't you all decide? You all in chat, you're the drivers of this thing, right? You decide who you want to be next. Who's next Battle Royale? I don't care. I'll deal with as many of them as I can like before. If you want me and Jeff to go one-on-one, if you want to see, I don't think Vince and Waylon will ever go one-on-one. There's too much bad blood there. But, I could see there's lots of people that have either synergistic styles or orthogonal styles that might be fun to watch play. And really, because I think this thing makes you be well-rounded because you have to play light, dark, hybrid, King of the Mountain style. You got to do all the different ways. So decide who you want to play. We'll start a new schedule up, and we can do faster. You can do one a week, and every 5 weeks roll it over and we can have battle royales going all the time. So I think that's great for this channel, right? I think Casino Gaming TV is the home for that kind of stuff. So there's that. All right, what else do I have to say? Looking ahead for next year, really quick, we have to decide next year as a group who are we going to support. This year we did because obviously Steve from Press by One is battling cancer as we speak. It was his idea, right? We did cancer. Next year, I can see us doing Craps for the Cure. We can go after PTSD or the VA in general. Not the VA, but veterans in general. As you know, I've had a heart attack, so the American Heart Association works well for me as a personal thing to donate to. If you have a cause in mind that you think is going to be well received and our community can rally around, we'll start thinking about what that looks like next year. So think about that. Next year also, we're going to need full staff. We're going to need people with assignments and accountability. We tried that this year, but it was I wasn't very organized with it. We need somebody to run and handle the guest scheduling, the logistics of getting them there, food, beverages, audio, video, the internet, the content management, the chat and all that stuff, the titles, the amounts, and getting somebody coordinating it all like Jen did this year. And Ian, I see a couple of people said St. Jude's. I can get behind St. Jude's for sure. St. Jude's doesn't just do one thing. So Craps for the Cure, does it become about childhood leukemia or just St. Jude's in general? St. Jude's is amazing. I could 100% do St. Jude's with you next year. And next year, I think CQ, along with maybe a live casino, we have a year to figure it out. I'm talking to David right now about dates for next year. So we're locked in early and we can start planning it. So side conversations to happen on what's going to happen next year. So, all right, everybody, I'm looking at, I'm seeing all the St. Jude's people. Is St. Jude's the win? Can somebody tell me for sure in chat? That's what we're saying. If it's St. Jude's, it's St. Jude's. That's I'm down. So we can do that. All right, what's next? Want to talk about some craps? I'm going to recap the weekend, and let's get this out of the way. Your daily dose of DI is this: I beat the ever-loving crap out of Vegas. Okay, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. I shot really good this weekend. I don't know what it was. There was a couple of sessions I had that were not perfect, obviously, right? I wasn't always on 20s, but over the course of, I think about 10 or 12 table sessions, I had a roll that was pretty close to 40. I had 3 or 4 in the 20s, one that was in the high 20s, and a bunch of 10 to 15s in the middle there. I had a couple of shorties, but for the most part, I rolled really good. And I wrote actually an email to Cage, Cashier's Cage, and I'm like, hey man, and he gives me a lot of shit about the chopper, the way I throw it. And I'm like, you know what? I really felt dialed in. I've been practicing so much here at home. You've seen them all. When I got there, the bounce was different. It took me a hot minute to adjust a little bit, but I felt so comfortable at the table. And the folks who got to play with me saw the chopper in real life, and again, I always get the same comment, like, oh, that's what it looks like? I don't explain it very well. When you see it flying in the casino, you're like, oh shit, that's different. That's a whole different looking thing. So it was dialed in. I felt great. I made a ton of money on myself, not on anybody else really, but it was great. I feel like even if dice control is an impossibility, I felt comfortable and confident when I was shooting. Whether that means anything or not, who knows, but I sure as hell rolled good and I made money with it. So my daily dose of DI is that I DI'd all weekend. I was in control of me, my emotions. I was in control of my toss. Everything felt great all weekend. So I was happy about that. How did I do? I know I forgot a session here. Actually, I'm just going to start you out with what I did. It says here Harris Saturday night. We actually played a little bit on Thursday. I'd forgotten about the Thursday session. Kind of a blur, right? We come in, and Dan picked us up, Ian and Jen and myself and Sideshow, and we went out and got some dinner over at the steakhouse at Red Rocks, which was phenomenal. We came back, and I think we went downtown first, right? We went down to the Fremont, we went to the Golden Nugget, then the Fremont. Didn't play. It was packed down there. We did meet up with Chiro and his wife, and Chris from Texas Dice Shooters, and we ended up going up to Bally's, I think it was Bally's, where we played the Stadium Craps, and that was fun. Stadium Craps is a fun game. I like the little tossing station that they've got there. It's fun to have 15 people kind of in a circle, and you can get up and walk over. I did a couple of times. I walked over to Chiro's station and high-fived him, and you can walk around and talk to people and not be in the way. On a regular craps table, you're kind of elbowing and you're in the way. At Stadium Craps, you're at those stations and you're around the shooter, and it's free form. You can walk around, do what you want to. I think I made $100 in that session. I didn't put it down here. I think I made 100 that night, which was pretty cool. Harrah's on Saturday night. I didn't play again. I played a little bit that Thursday night. Friday morning, we went out to Tony Leo's house and hung out. We did a session with him and broke down his strategies and worked with throwing and that kind of thing. Raced on, oh, by the way, God, what a dumbass. Now I can tell you the story. On the way to that morning, on Friday morning, so here we are. We know we've got our thing coming up on Friday night, right? At 7 o'clock, we're going to start the thing, or 5 o'clock, we're starting the thing. I didn't sleep at all. Thursday night, we played craps at the stadium. I didn't sleep a wink. Maybe I got an hour or two on Thursday night. I was so nervous about doing the event. I got no sleep at all. So I was tired. Get up in the morning and I'm shaving the dome and I hit my ear, right? I shaved part of my ear off. And as you men will know, your ears don't stop bleeding. Fuck, man. How about it? Ian and Jen and Dan, I bled. I had rags on my head for the better part of 2.5 hours. It would not stop, right? And then we go to the event, of course, and my ear's all jacked up. Yeah, cut myself shaving. What a dumbass. Anyway, after the event was over, we 2 hours of sleep, go to Tony's, we come back to Casino Quest, we set everything up. Mad scramble. Dennis and me worked for an hour and a half straight getting the feeds to work between all the channels. It was such a overwhelming burden and worry. Once the feed fired up, we're like, okay, we're gonna be fine. Did the whole show, right? And I'm not gonna recap the whole show. We did amazing work. Again, by everybody. I can't thank everybody any more than I did. It was awesome. So I have an electric Victor, but I use the fine razor for the parts that the electric can't reach, and that's where I cut myself. Freaking idiot. Anyway, after the show, right? So we do, again, 2 hours of sleep all day long, do the 27 hours. I'm up for 43 hours straight. Back to hair as we go. And we're at the table where you've heard about the story, right? You got, I think it was Dan was at one end, and you had Sideshow and D-Gen and Craig from Old Bay, and I think Rob Campro was there. Maybe one other person was at that table. And I'm watching them play, and I was drunk, punch drunk, just standing there. I barely remember even being there. We actually went and played. I think we went to the other table and played for a little bit. I won $175. I have no idea how. I literally was that whole after the show, the adrenaline rush from the show, complete blur. I don't remember a thing. I won 175. I have no idea how I won it. No idea. Went to bed, got about 11 hours of sleep. Next day we go to Ellis Island. We spent about 4 hours at Ellis Island. There you go. I don't think people were using the app to meet up. I didn't promote it. I did a terrible, honestly, Lou, and this should go back to what was bad. I was so stressed out about getting the show to be right, and all the things. I missed so many details. I actually forgot to put 2 auction items up. One I got up during the show. There was 2 others that people had emailed me pictures, and I forgot to put the damn things up because I was so freaked out the whole time. So yeah, that's why we need staff for that, for sure. Anyway, we played Ellis Island for a while. About 4 hours put in. I think I made $150 there. That was a great day for me. We had the Horseman going, and I was up and down, right, on everybody else. And there was a bunch of weird bad shooters there, and there was a bunch of okay shooters there. And I made money on me and lost on some other people. We ground that thing out. I have a strategy to talk about through this, because Chris and Dice D-Gen got whacked pretty hard, and then he did what D-Gens do, pushed in. I want to talk about that tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow's show we'll talk about that a little bit. But I won at Ellis, so I'm basically 3 for 3. I won at the stadium, I won the How Did I Win session, I have no idea, and then I won again in Ellis. And then we came back to Harris on Saturday night after some lunch and everything else. We played Bubble Craps as a group, and I won $400 at Bubble Craps. Not Bubble, but the stadium-style automatic craps. Won a bunch of money there. That was great. I also lost $100. My first loss was on the Roll to Win table, which I said to everybody, hey, let's play Roll to Win. This is a great table. I love this thing. And then, of course, I rolled like crap with that thing. And I played the Jackalope. For whatever reason, let's do the Jackalope today, right? Buying for just $100. I did the 30-30, it goes to the one guy. He shoots a 30 roller, and I'm on the freaking Jackalope not getting anything. He finally gets the 9, right? I get triggered. I'm all in, and he sniped the freaking 7. So I missed out on 27 of this guy's rolls. He snipes the 9, snipes my numbers, and I lose $100 in 2 seconds. So that was the one really bad session that I had, was that one there. But then we had a good session on Sunday morning. or Monday morning rather, we went out. I won $400 on the table. I had 2 good rollers. Kerry Cota joined us there. I had a couple of good rolls there. I won I think $400 there. I lost a little bit on bubble craps later on that day, just trying some stuff out. I wasn't really bankrolled for the bubble the right way. I kind of went down too quick and didn't have enough money to fight back. So it is what it is. But I, still to this point, doing well. And again, what I do, I horseman the table, and then on me, I play, more aggressive tier pressure type of strategy, and it was working out. The next day was good. Monday, Dice Dr. Dan and I went up to Golden Valley Ranch in Henderson. I won $165 that night. Dan, I think, won quite a bit. We had a couple of good rolls there. I made the ATS for the tall for the dealers. I don't bet the ATS. I bet it for them, not for me. So the dealers made money on me that night. 220 rollers, roughly thereabouts, while we were playing there. So I did really well. It was awesome. We came back to Harris, Dan and I did, and I said, hey, I want to play some. I'm kind of crapped out. Like, it's been all this craps. And he plays UTH, Ultimate Texas Hold'em. And I said, hey, Shackelford said that was one of the best games to play from a house edge standpoint. Let's do it. We sat there and burned $180, like that fast. Like, I gave the money from Golden Valley Ranch right back to Harris, essentially, which was a bummer. But, I got to play it. I know I don't like it now. And that's about it. But the big one was yesterday morning. I got up, I wrote to Michael Shackelford. I said, hey man, can you extend my stay, because I have I had to work in the afternoon. So he gave me an extra night. He said, make sure you get down to tables and play. So I went down to the table, and I planned to put in a few hours at the table. Well, it was only me and one other guy. He was terrible. So every time he rolled, he 7'd out. It took me 2 times with the dice to kind of warm up. I had a 9 and an 8 or whatever. And then I went off on this amazing run. I mean, it was probably 38, 39 rolls, and made $1,500. Hit the full ATS for the dealers. It was great. It was the best session of the week for sure. That sealed the deal. I'm like, I know I wasn't here very long. I was probably there for like an hour and a half or so, but I'm like, colored my ass up and I'm out. So I think I walked out of there. I was in my first buy-in, besides the stadium craps, was $100. My first table buy-in was $400. I actually brought $400 in cash with me, and I had my ATM card. Never withdrew money from the bank. That $400 turned into $2,300 over the weekend. So I kept using the 411. I bought them for 5. The 513. I bought them for 8, and I just used that same $400 the entire weekend, and just kind of used the winnings to grow it up. And I walked out of there about a 2K winner for the week. So it was great. It was actually really, really solid. It was good. Let's see. What else do you want to ask me before I go to the table? I do want to roll some with you. I'm going to check for questions. Are there any good questions in here? Let's see. I'm going to put these up. Casino class was clutch. Ian and Chris, absolutely clutch. Everybody was clutch. Jen, you were clutch. I mean, there was always food there. There was always drinks there. We had alcohol there, a little whiskey. It was great. Everybody clutched up and made this thing happen. There's no way I could have done this on my own. I mean, it literally, 50 things went wrong, and 5 people fixed all the 50 things while I was trying to keep the show going. It was insane. It was so good. I hope that it came off well. Question, who has my chip set? Dan has it, Victor. I will make sure that, so today, one of my jobs today is to go through all the auction items and connect all the auction winners with all the auction providers and get everybody hooked up. I'll do it today after the show's over. That's going to be a thing. So you'll get that for sure. The YOLO did not go well, Skill. I YOLO'd, I think, 13 times in a row, and we made it. And then I 7'd out. They gave me a mulligan, which pissed off Vince, but we took the mulligan. I did it again, and then somebody 7'd me out later on. So we never got to the full thing. And the YOLO was kind of weird because the thing, I like the idea of the YOLO every hour. The problem was, let me put that note up. The problem with the YOLO every hour was it's so loud, and we're in the middle of something, and I'm like, hey, everybody, stop. It's time to YOLO. And everybody would kind of clear out for a minute, put our chips back out, do the shot, and then back the way you were. It was very awkward and off-putting. What I really need is a second table that's just set up for that. And like that's just sitting there. We can switch cameras, go to this table, do our YOLO bid, and then come back to the regular show. That's the kind of stuff that like a professional production crew would do. Me, with all of us, we're just kind of moving cameras around and hoping for the best. So that was again, a thing for next year, Skill. And it was fun to do it. It didn't work out financially. And it was a little awkward, I think, in there. So there's that. Yeah, the next feud, you guys can decide who the next feud's going to be. And Jeremy says it doesn't matter anymore. So let's let me go back here. Let me go back to the screen. Put these comments in context. The like button doesn't matter. So here, and Jeremy explained this well, and I'll explain it again for all the YouTubers. The YouTube algorithm used to be. Let's explain this way. YouTube makes money by people watching videos, right? Because they put ads on them. So all that YouTube cares about is how do I make sure that more people watch this video? That's what they care about. So it used to use likes. Well, if people are liking the video, then it must mean that it's good. Therefore, I will show it to more other people. That was the old algorithm. Tags, descriptions. So when you search for how do I win $1 billion of craps, we would put in our descriptions, how to win $1 billion of craps, and then that way YouTube would connect you and me together and show you my videos. What they're doing now is seeing how long people watch a video, right? An 8-minute video that people watch 30 seconds of sucks. An 8-minute video that people watch 6 minutes of must be good. Therefore, YouTube takes that video and shows it to 1,000 new people in their suggested feed. That's how it works. So the physical act of saying like doesn't matter that much to the YouTube algorithm anymore. It's kind of a false flag, if that makes sense. YouTube likes to see that people watch the videos and are engaged with them. So if you're watching and you're commenting, if you're watching and you're chatting, YouTube sees that as high engagement, and that makes them pump the videos out. That's what Jeremy's point was, and it's important to know that. I think that not saying like and subscribe, hit the thing, it makes it a more natural video. So I like that. What else? Is there a show tomorrow? There'll be a show tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving. What else I got to do? We're not going to be cooking. We only have me, my wife, my daughter now. So I'll do the show. Nobody's going to watch, but I'm going to be here anyway, throwing dice. And that's the way it's going to be. What else? Any other questions to play with here? PCs. Let's see. Is there any show tomorrow? Let's see. How are we going to get a bunch of staff? Oh, good question, Skill. The overnight thing, by the way, the overnight thing was kind of a mess. So what happened was at CQ, we had about 30 people there. And Dave was like, you can't have 30 people overnight. Like, okay, he was kind of panicking. And I'm like, cool, we'll get a core group of like 5 or 6 people and that'll be cool. And there was a couple of people, Chris and Chiro specifically, that I was hoping were going to stay overnight. And they couldn't, or they could, but they elected not to. They thought we were at limit, and they elected out to not stay. We could have had them there. It was more about crowd control than anything else. And it's kind of like David was like, hey, like the staff, the folks that are working with you can stay. Folks that are there to attend as guests shouldn't stay. That was the line of demarcation that we didn't really understand. Now we understand it. So next year we'll have a better handle on things. We even talked about having a remote location. So that's how it's going to be. Lesson learned, Skill. I think going through, and we have to do a full RCA here and a post-mortem, I suppose, on the whole event with everybody that was there. I'm going to give you my initial, don't forget to talk about it kind of thoughts. There was a lot of things that I can improve. I know it went well and people had fun and we raised a lot of money, but I think we can do so much better. And I think highlighting the parts where I fell short highlights where I need help and who I can ask for help with. And I hope next year we have more people in person. It'll be a better event if it's all in person without the calling guests, and a better event when we have staff that we're really giving good assignments and play with. So that's it. That's my basic recap. I know it's a lot of yammering. Sorry for how long that was, but you got to do it, right? Let's switch. Let's go back to my table. I want to play a little tiny bit of craps with you, because why not, right? What's we're here for? Let's play a little bit. I'm gonna show you something that I didn't really do a lot of yesterday. Let me, there we go. Let me get Firefox open up here and I'll do some roll tracking. It's about 9 o'clock. I'm gonna go an extra half an hour. So if you want to stick around with me and roll, let's roll a little bit. Come on. Let me get to here, the roll tracker. All right. Wow, the roll tracker is 2,760 rolls. That's insane. Think about that. We've rolled like 3,000 rolls together over the last few months, just here half hour at a time. I think data gathering is fun. It's good to have comparative data when I'm doing the controlled shooting versus this. But let's get out here. Let me take these dice out of here. We'll use, I'm going to use the cursed dice today. We'll use the whites, the cursed white dice. And let's grab like $500. There's 500 in black. I'm just going to do that. We'll make change as we go here. And I don't have a huge plan here. I just want to play kind of the way that I played at the casino. And I want to show you the thing that Chris did yesterday, which is kind of taking over the internet right now, this crazy whack job strategy. Let's take this. Let's get a point. And we'll do 66 inside including. That's kind of my go-to bet on me. And I know that I'm going to roll randomly today. That's a 639, by the way. Here we are. And I'll do this. I'll say 66 inside. So that'll be 34 and change, 25, $34 back. And we'll get ourselves set up. And I'll set my rack up kind of the way that I did there too, so you can see it. And that'll be 3 units, 3 units, 3 units. And here's the thing. I like to play the tier pressure, right? My really favorite way to play, and the way that I made the money yesterday was with tier pressure. But I started here because I never bought in for more than $500. I had backup money if I needed it, but I never bought in for more than 500. So to me, $66 was enough of a percentage. It was about 8 or 9 shooters, or 8 or 9 shots at it, is how I looked at this. So I played the horseman on everybody else. In most cases, I would have this. I would be where I had my $500 here, and I'd have like, maybe a few reds up front, right? So I had my initial bankroll, about 30, $40 in profit, and a bunch of white chips over here that I was playing with for tips and crap like that. And I was playing on this stack most of the time. If I ever got a profit, I'd drop it back here. And I kind of kept my base stack, and Jen kept looking at me going, where you at? I'm like, here's my base. I got my base set up. I'm back to where I was. I'm playing on this. And I even said to her one time, one time I was like this. I had like my base, and I had a bunch of money back here. I said, if you see me, my hand come back here and touch these chips, you smack it. Like, not allowed. Anyway, so I was doing this, 66 inside, and I was playing tier pressure style, but from here. So here's what I did. Here was most of the times, if I did this on a random shooter, and I say random, meaning Jen or Chris or Ian, friends of mine, I would do this, not the horseman. There's a 6.5. Yeah, if I get a hit here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a 4. So here's the problem with this, right? You're missing out on the outsides, right? The regular tier pressure is 130 across. So I don't miss the 4 and 10. Here I'm missing it, but because I'm underfunded at a $15 table, I don't have enough money to get the 4 or the 10. And this happened to me a couple of times where you're hitting the outsides like this, 6-4, and you're like, shit, I should be out there. But then again, it's 96, and it takes a whole shot out of your rack away. So this is conservative, and it's kind of a bummer. There's a 9. So it took us a while to get here. 5 for 9. That's the point. You drop your buck, and you go to. You press them all up. Okay, like so. Now I'm at. Come on there. Now I'm at 88. And again, when Jen or Ian or one of my friends was shooting, this is what I would do. I'll give it to you here in a second. There's aces on the come out, doesn't matter. This is kind of an approach thing, right? This is that 3-phase idea. There's a 5, there's our new point. Now I need one more hit, right? We had what, 6 rolls already? With the 9, the 11, the 4, the 10, the 9, right? The first payment was on that freaking 9, right? All those rolls, we talk about like, hey, this is a 7 roller already. 7 roller, I got paid 1 time because of all the non-productive rolls, right? Non-productive, non-productive, non-productive. Twice in the field, right? That's why I say the length of roll doesn't matter. It's the quality of the shooter, right? When I was shooting the chopper, I was in here the whole time. I was in the box most of the time. Not a lot of wasted rolls out of me. There's a 9, 549. So check this out. Pays $28. And my move to the dealer, bring me down. Bring it all back, please, right? When we bring it all back, I'm gonna leave the 66 out there, but I wanna show you something. I'm gonna leave this out here. We'll, just so you can see, we'll turn this off, but it's out. What comes back to my rack is this. There's exactly $50, okay? When this strategy works, the 66 to 88 and down, if I were to pull this back to my rack, there's my $66 back in the rack and $50 in profit. And the dealers are like, you're missing out, right? So let me get this, that was fake profit. I would do this every time, boom, $50 in profit, right? Effectively, I could, and I will, just so you can see it. Here I am, building it up. And I went out there, initially with $66, there's 50, and there's my change from that, okay? So I look at my rack and I go, well, I got 66 out here again for the next time. My bankroll stack has got $475 in it because I pulled back the 50 and I've got like $8 over here to drop dollars in. Okay, that is actually the way I do it. And I let whoever it is finish their roll. Sometimes, let's say that we did it again. Let's say that this happened and we had another good hit and we got another $50. I'm gonna pretend for a second. That comes back to my rack. Bring it all back. I would actually replenish this. Now my bankroll stack is solid. I have a quarter, right? I would take that quarter, get nickels for it, and I'd come. Just like that. And I would get 2 come bets to work. This would, of course, be down. And I'd come out for a couple times. And I would just kind of like ease into it a little bit as we go. So that was what I was doing most of the weekend. When it came to me, instead of doing the 66 to 88, I was full pressing. So let's do a round where it's me shooting now. So we'll say our point's 9, right? Our point is 5. Let's pretend that it's John shooting here. And again, my rack is right. I pulled the $50 back. I'm back at 66. Let's just try it. I'm doing random shooting, of course. But let's see if I can get a couple of hits here. I'll show you what I did. 66. There's a 4. Not on it. Boy, these wasted rolls suck. Suck the life out of you, the wasted rolls, don't they? Another one. Woo. Look at that, back to back, 410, 410. Nothing on the inside. There's a 1, 2, 3. Wow. I'm gonna write a song called The Death March of the Wasted Roll or something. There's a 7 out. Okay, cool. 7 out. Lose our $66. I'm gonna go ahead and drop $75 to the dealer and go back up and take our $9 and change. Bets are replaced. Puck is going to be off. Look at that roller. That was a long roll. Just a couple of hits. 3-2-5. All right, let's play it. Let's play it the right, quote unquote, right way. 3-2-5. That's our point. Give me some hits here so I can show this. Come on, dice, help me out. Let me show something here. Nope. Come on. Here's a 9. Cool. All right, 6, 3, 9. So what I was doing was this on me. We know that pays $21. It's a full press. Bring it all the way up. And I was ignoring the outsides. This is probably a mistake in the way that I played it. But I wanted to maximize the inside as best I could. And when I was shooting, it was a lot of insides. There was one session where I hit a bunch of 10s and I sniped my friend a lot. But generally speaking, this is where I was living. So I was taking one full big hit and trying to get 3 full size hits out of the middle if I could do it. And then I would spread out. There's an 8. Again, the 4, 4, 8. That also paid, of course, $21, right? For me, That goes right to 30. Right, I don't go 36, I go right to 30 with it. Let's go ahead and do that. Now my 8's pressed up. It's a 10, which doesn't help, 6, 4, 10. There's a 9, so that's perfect. We got our 9 to hit, 6, 3, 9. And again, 35 plus 14, $49. So 50 for 1 is what that pays. Now, here's where I'm at. I have choices, and what I was doing was going from here to either 96 across or 110 inside. Most of the time, I would go right to 110 and bring this back. So I'm bringing back 35 bucks to the rack. Not quite out of the hand. There's 35 and there's 3. And I'm over here. And I'm not where I want to be yet. I have 110 out there, but not the 130 that I want. So I got to build into the 130 that I want to play at. Because again, I started at 66. So I'm kind of easing my way through it to get where I want to be. And there's, of course, big red. 617. So what I would have done, the next hit would have been this. It would have been 25, 30. I'll just paint in reds. It would have been 35 bucks. That would have been here. Now I'm across, finally. And from here, I can play the proper tier pressure. And this gets me to 130. And now I'm working my system, right? That's my first hit at 110 gets the 4 and 10. And now I'm working tier pressure. So when I won the 1500, this is what I did, but I got it quick. Like I literally got to this here in 4 rolls because I rolled all the inside numbers and I pounded them really hard. Got right to here and I was at 130 across in no time. And then I pressed this thing up to the rafters by using my up and pull method on the across bets as a unit. So that's how I did it. Horseman and everybody else, 66 inside for my friends, 2 hits and out. Like literally pull that 50 bucks every single time. And that's, I was telling Dylan this the other day. To me, the skill 66 is not a great strategy as an all-day player. Right, and I'll show you what I mean by that again. I want to redemonstrate this because I think I can't understate the value of what I'm about to tell you. So tell your friends. We're gonna go to 66 inside. I'm gonna do this one more time because you have to see the numbers. It's 2 hits. We know this, it's 2 hits. The first hit pays 21. So you drop that buck, right? So you're into this hand for $67. Get them all pressed up. That next hit pays $28. When you come down, and coming down means leaving your 66 out there. I'll do it like this so you can see it. I'll bring my $66 back to my rack. So I'm back. And what I made on that hand is 50 bucks. 50 bucks in profit. Every time you pull that off, it's 50 bucks. And the doers are giving me stink eye. Like, hey, you're wasting rolls. I'm like, yep, I'm wasting rolls, and I'm also pocketing 50 bucks on an unknown shooter or a shooter that I don't control because it isn't me with the dice. I'll take that 50 bucks every single time. And if you can make 50 bucks like that on 3 out of the 8 shooters, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be pretty much okay. And again, if you make it a couple times, you can use the extra money as other fodder for different bets. That was my approach most of the weekend. Horseman on the table, 66 for 2 hits on my friends, 66 to 130 on me, and that's how I did it. That was my strategy most of this weekend. Let me come up here and talk to you again. Is anybody still here, by the way? I did it that way for a couple of reasons. One is, again, grossly underfunded, right? I spent a ton of money getting myself there for the weekend, right? And all the money we spent to get the system set up and everything else. So my 401g account was pretty low. So I went out there pretty underfunded, and I said, I'm making this. I had about $2,000 in reserves, but I said, I'm going to make this $400 or $500 work for me. I'm not going to dip in. I'm not going to buy in for $1,000 or $1,500 and try and do something crazy. like go 250 across and just try and shoot the moon. I wanted to make sure I could last. In Vegas, you have to last for 8, 9, 10 table sessions. So you can't go out there and be super aggressive on Friday when you know you're leaving on Tuesday, right? So I have to find ways to play. That's where the Horseman and that 66 comes into play. Racking that $50 every time is great because the $50 that I racked on Ian or on Jen wins me $50. I can play the Horseman, $15, 15 and 15. I can get, the don't and 2 come bets for free, right? That $50 pays for the next, and as they make money, you stay out there. That's exactly how I approached it. I'm super conservative and I'm wickedly diligent. The minute I get to my goal, I'm done. I literally lock that up and I play on the little ones and that's it. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, Jen. Dice Doctor, so PC through the chopper at Green Valley and through 5 10s. And Jen will attest to this because I rolled a bunch of 10s against her too when she was out there on the don't. So sometimes that 10 on that 6-1 toss, that 10 sometimes starts to show up. And usually I'm banging the insides, and when I don't bet the outside, and Dan will tell you this, right? I was on the inside that whole time. I didn't get to the outside. I was winning on the insides enough to build me up. Not going to the 4 and 10 cost me. And I kept joking about, God, I should move out there, but I didn't. And there's opportunity lost, but I'll take the wins all day long. I like my wins. Wow. 9:30. So we've been talking since 7 o'clock this morning. It's 2.5 hours. It's almost like it's another telethon. I got to go to work. I got to do something productive today, right? So to everybody who's here, thank you for being here. Tomorrow, we'll talk about craps. I know this whole show today was about the event, and we can put that in the rear view for now. I've got plans to do for next time. Do me a favor. If you want to help out next year's event, jump into the Discord and the Craps for the Cure and just highlight your. I'm good at this. Put me to work, John, and I'll put you to work. We'll figure this out together. Next year's event will be 1,000 times better. This was an awesome event. I had so much fun doing it. Again, hanging out with everybody, getting to meet Dan, getting to play a lot with different people was awesome. DJ and I have played together before in Philly, but never side by side like we did this weekend, right? That was fun. I get to hang out and actually get to know people. And like I said, a lot of lifelong friends. I think we cemented ourselves as family. It was fantastic. Next year, somebody has to drive Waylon out there. Somebody go to Alabama, pick that guy up and drive him out and get him there in person. We all got to play together. So with that said, everybody, love you all. You're a family. You're lifelong friends. And big hug, big group hug to everybody. If I forgot your name during the shout outs here, I'm sorry. It's just, there was a lot. I should have took better notes. I didn't take any pictures, by the way. So somebody put pictures in the Discord for us. So go to Discord, check out the pictures of all the group that was hanging out there. Oh, check this out, by the way. There's the shirt. There, the shirt that I was hoping to wear. It showed up in the mail here, and there's the back. But the back has, you can see it, all of the people, like concert T-shirt style, who were there. I'm gonna get this shirt redesigned because I think the logo is not big enough. And the back, I'm missing 2 people, so I'm gonna redo it. If you wanna get one of these, the concert T-shirt version of it, give me a couple days to do the redesign, and you'll have that able to order from the site. So I'll let you know when that is. I also got a coffee cup for it too. So, all right, that's it, guys. 9:30. Great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll do Thanksgiving and Black Friday versions of the paycheck and coffee and craps. More craps, less chat tomorrow. More craps, less talking. That's it. See ya. Bye.